Alright, listen up.
Everything is going according to plan. Since day one, fans knew to expect a long con from the MCU. The films would go in phases. The first phase introduced us to the first wave of superheroes. The second wave expanded the universe and cast. The third wave put it all in jeopardy. The timeline was clear from the get-go. To that point, Marvel seems to be on schedule. Yes, some things have shifted around over the years, but Phase 3 was always set to end with these 2 Avengers films. However, that's all we've ever known. Some films are being announced for after Phase 3, but the layout isn't clear. Kevin Feige and his creative team want to keep everything under wraps just a bit longer. It's understandable, but for the hardcore theorists like us out there, we will not settle for the mystery. We've looked through all the films building up to Endgame and believe there are hidden details unveiling a plan for a larger Marvel multiverse to start Phase 4. Okay, so let's be honest. The mixture of comic book film fans that are also scientists is probably pretty high. We don't like to make assumptions, well, actually, we do. This is a theory channel, after all. However, the odds are that most of our viewers are familiar with the concept of multi- or parallel universes and the theory behind it. Now, the true real-life subject is immensely complicated. For the scientists out there, feel free to give us your understanding of this theory down below. The one thing viewers need to know are the phrases Einstein-Rosenberg bridge and quantum entanglement. Both show up a number of times in early films. The phrases harken back to 2 ideas within the theory that relate specifically to what we've seen from Marvel so far. Bear with us, this explanation will not be the most scientific of any multiverse lesson you've ever heard, but like Scott Lang pulling off a heist, we're simply trying our best to keep up. The first aspect is the idea of time and history. We will get into where this comes into existence within the MCU shortly, and from there, how it explains Endgame's potential plot. Don't worry, it will come. See, time in the parallel universe sense branches off the main trunk. The main trunk here is the story we've seen play over 3 stages of movies. The branches are where points in the story offered new potential outcomes and therefore created new universes. All of this comes from the perspective of history in the MCU being malleable and subject to other possibilities. Furthermore, the second aspect is all about dimensions or realms. Yes, if you've just shouted, like the quantum realm, at your laptop screen, then congratulations, you're right. We've seen other instances of realms that behave differently come into play before that, though, and that needs to be taken into account. These alternative spaces can operate in a lot of different ways. Primarily, the main source for the MCU to date has been to hold characters and work as an alternate, safe fighting space. We don't know the full extent of these yet. That's the SparkNotes version of all this multiverse stuff. We encourage you to research it more if this theory seems interesting to you. It's truly an intriguing theory with actual evidence backing up the idea. Still, we want to know what parts of it concern Marvel and their plans. Well, Marvel definitely hints at the existence of other realms. The phrase is tossed around more often than "I have a plan," and honestly it seems to be on the mind of the screenwriters since the first phase. More on that in a second. Real quickly, we believe the time aspect comes into play too. The Time Stone is clearly part of the snap, and that means time and space were both altered. On top of that, time was a plot device in Doctor Strange. Clearly, the effect of our perception of time is being warped by Marvel already. It's not ludicrous to think they might do it some more. So, it appears that the MCU is going to tie in both aspects of this multiverse theory, hopefully. Okay, so we promised you we'd talk about where these ideas appear in the Marvel films. Here we go. Turn up the volume on your headphones, or don't, it's up to you, and get into your focus position. It's time to run through the proof of concept that we've seen since day 1 of the Marvel films. Actually, day 1 is a bit of a stretch. We didn't see any evidence in Iron Man. However, viewers heard and saw multiple allusions to multiverse theory during the first 2 THOR films. We heard so much about wormholes and bridges connecting the 9 realms in those 2 films that it's kind of hard to ignore it. If it wasn't clear, it was certainly made clear by Darcy asking so many questions.
How could you eat an entire box of Pop-Tarts and still be this hungry?
Oh, Darcy, we don't miss you and your constant expositional dialogue. The realms were shown, the idea was then compounded in Phase 2 by Ant-Man and Doctor Strange. The quantum realm is more than apparent now that it's become the center of every single Endgame theory ever created, but the Ancient One also mentions to Strange that other worlds do exist out there. We then see Dormammu and his realm collapse into Earth for a moment at the end. However, Doctor Strange also introduces the aspect of time into the movies, though that might not have been the first time fans saw this idea come into view. Remember how Thor explains the 9 realms to Jane Foster? He draws it like they're all branches coming off a tree. It's the subtle hint to the idea that these realms are actually just different universes within the MCU. It certainly seems likely. Not to mention the way the Time Stone factors into Infinity War, but we've already discussed that scene. Alright, there is the abbreviated version of the tiny winks we've seen across the 3 phases. Of course, there are more, and we invite you to share them in the comments. After all, we don't have all day to sit here and talk about the multiverse. We can always get your help in the comments, so please, chime in. We want to move into talking about Endgame to bring this video home. It's the video we're all waiting for, and it's causing a seismic shift in the main storyline, not to mention we're so close from getting all our answers. Many believe that the snap didn't happen the way the mainstream audience thinks it did. Fans know that it's more than likely our heroes aren't gone forever. It's possible that they never even left. The explanations for this belief range from likely to nearly impossible. Some believe the universe was simply split in 2 by Thanos. Others think the rest of the team is trapped in another dimension within the Soul Stone. Some people believe Thanos sent them to an alternate timeline that was sparsely populated. And others think that he set up a chain reaction that split multiple realms into 2 and destabilized the universe. No matter what you think the snap did, the outcome is clear. Captain Marvel came out before Endgame, that's a fact. The speculative idea that we came up with and many others believe is that Marvel did this so she can become a new leader and play a huge role in this upcoming film. Ant-Man being stuck in the quantum realm and Doctor Strange messing with time are also key parts of this as well. Now again, theorists all over the web have their narratives. We don't want to get stuck in the weeds. However, those 2 characters are interacting with those 2 big pinnacles of the multiverse theory. Strange is viewing time from a cosmic lens and discovering branches in the timeline right in front of us. And Lang is traversing the alternate dimension looking for a gateway out. Clearly, the 2 storylines can come back to introduce the multiverse. All of their character arcs, Marvel's power coming from the Infinity Stones, Strange's branch manipulation, and Lang's sweet escape from the quantum realm will likely play a part in the conclusion of Endgame. The creative team is just too smart to leave loose threads like that around.
Most of the stuff in here is fake.
Sure, some storylines will go unsettled over the course of 3 phases of films, but the hints are too huge. Everything is coming to a head, and the breaking point is the flood of multiverses we will be introduced to when the dust settles. Like the metaphorical dust, not the dust of the missing Marvel characters. Sorry, we didn't feel too good about that pun. So why bother creating a multiverse at the end of Phase 3? Well, like we said earlier, it's all going according to plan. Not a cinematic plan, the corporate plan. See, Disney has us all invested now. They wanted the Marvel brand to grow through the different stages of this huge storyline so that fans will become deeply involved with the characters. The only problem is actors get old, contracts expire, and storylines become too complex. You've seen it already over the course of making these 3 parts of the MCU. The multiverse offers a corporate solution to the problem. Comic writers created their miniverses to work on unique stories and shore up any plot discrepancies. It gave them the chance to experiment and explain away mistakes without completely rewriting the book. Phase 4 is going to be a lot like Phase 1. We're going to see a lot of setup in a whole new way. It'll be time to adjust the multiverse. No more single version of Tony Stark. We're getting the dozens of new storylines and character possibilities thanks to the multiverse. Are you excited for the Black Widow film? Well, it may take place in a universe where the Soviet Union still exists. The truth is, we don't know anything for certain, but the possibility that Spider-Man Far From Home taking place in the new Snap universe is starting to feel super possible. Disney wants flexibility for the Marvel brand. Endgame is going to deliver that to them. The new era is upon us, and it's about to get more like the comics than ever before. We don't want to sugarcoat this theory. We're excited for the multiverse if it turns out to be true. However, giving the creators flexibility comes with a downside. There are no limits to how stories can change. That may alienate audiences. On top of that, it's become way easier for Marvel to replace actors if they want more money or equal pay. Not to mention the fear of superhero saturation only growing in a new era of limitless narrative possibilities. The burnout some viewers feel will only accelerate. We want to hear what you think of the Marvel multiverse theory. Leave a comment down below sharing your take, and follow Behind the Screen for all the latest in fan theories and character breakdowns. All you have to do is hit that link down below to be automatically subscribed.